Welcome everybody to Fast Pitch Canada Live's pregame show. Coming up next, we have a doubleheader matchup between the UBC Thunderbirds and the SFU Red Leafs. But before I get to that, I want to bring in a special guest. Those of you that have been watching my live streams for a few years know that I always try and add something a little different each year to make it more enjoyable for people at home. And this year I want to add in a pregame show. I won't be able to do it for every game, but when I can, I definitely will. So we can provide some insights into the matchup and also bring on some special guests. Now today I have a special guest, and he doesn't really need an introduction. Everybody seems to know him. Hundreds of people know him as their teacher. Hundreds of people know him as their principal or their high school basketball coach, their soccer coach, the volleyball coach, track and field. Lots of kids know him as their minor ball coach. There's others that know him as their junior college coach, but we all know him as the recently retired head coach of UBC Thunderbirds, Coach Gord Collings. Welcome, Gord.
Thank you, Tom. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
So, well, let's see. Hopefully this pregame show works out. It's a new technology for me. I tested it out last weekend at the games. I don't know if you had a chance to watch those games, but I had a few glitches, but I think I've got them all ironed out now.
Well, good for you. And I know how much of a pleasure it is for our parents and supporters to be able to watch the coverage of the games if they're not able to attend. So to have you there is just a great addition to our program, and we very much appreciate it. And I know the messages that you get from our parents, they're all complimentary around your ability to provide them with the opportunity to watch their daughters play.
Well, I really actually enjoy doing it, and I like to push the limits of what can be done with a one-person production. Because I do a multi-camera production, I add in graphics, I'm doing this pregame show, and really doing it all by myself. So hopefully I can get some help, at least with commentating during the season. So I might be knocking on your door for that. But anyways, enough about the streaming. Let's talk about you for now. You came on board, I guess, in 2013.
That's correct.
I guess that was quite the year for you. In 2013, you were the head coach of Douglas College, and I believe you took them to a championship game. You were also the head coach of Team BC, and you brought home the gold medal at the Canada Games. And you capped off that summer getting hired on at UBC. So what was that like? The transition from junior college to UBC. What was the program like at the time when you came on board?
Well, the program had just been getting going. It started out as a club team under the direction of Phil Tom, and Phil took the team until 2013 when they decided they wanted to have a full-time head coach. And Phil wasn't prepared to do that at the time, so they looked for a head coach to take over the program. And I had the opportunity to interview for the job and get selected as the head coach. And while it was a challenge to leave Douglas and my ladies there that were playing in the 2-year program there, I was really excited for the opportunity to coach at UBC, being a grad there a couple of times, going through 3 different programs. It was pretty exciting for me to get the opportunity to go back to my alma mater and coach the Thunderbirds. And I knew a number of the girls that were playing there at the time, and I knew Phil Tom well. So I had the opportunity to make a fairly easy transition into the program, knowing a lot of the players that played there and getting the support of Phil as I moved over. So it was a very interesting year for me. I thoroughly enjoyed that year, and brings back great memories of having the opportunity to coach at the summer games, win the gold medal, and also the opportunity to take my Douglas team to the final game of the championship. So it was a good year. Very cherished memories for me.
So looking back, I guess over the years, almost a decade at the helm of the T-Birds, what are some of the highlights of your time at UBC?
I think the highlights included the opportunity to go to the conference championships. Once we were able to get into a conference, a Cascade conference, after playing a number of years as an independent, having the opportunity to get into championships, before as we got into the Cascade conference as an independent team, to travel to Georgia a couple of times as an independent playoff team and compete at that level and get close to going to the regionals through that program. And then when we were accepted into the Cascade conference, the opportunity to go to the conference championships and 4 of the 5 years that we were there. So I think those were the highlights. The other highlights, I think, are being able to see my athletes graduate and pursue opportunities in their careers outside of softball, opportunities to go on and be successful people in the community, working in whatever field that they chose to graduate in.
Yeah, I know that the program actually in the bigger picture isn't actually that old. So it's nice to see now that there's actually starting to be some alumni for UBC softball, because I think for years there was a lot of former players were only just a few years into their careers. But it's nice to see that there's a lot of players that have gone on to do really well, and hopefully they come back and watch the new T-Birds. Anyways, both yourself and Coach McKellar both came from Douglas College. That seems to be a really good stepping stone to come into a 4-year program. What was that transition like, and what are the key differences between a junior college team and coaching a 4-year team?
Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate Jennifer for successfully getting the position at UBC and hopefully carrying on the tradition we've set up there. I know we share similar beliefs around the game and the culture of the kind of program you'd like to run. So I'm really pleased that she's had the opportunity, gaining the experience at Douglas and then coming to UBC. So well wishes to Jennifer and her coaching staff. I should point out also that her pitching coach, Rob Warburton, is probably the only person, well, I know he's the only person that coached at SFU, Douglas, and now is at UBC. So he's the only coach that has coached at all 3 programs. So I wish him well as well, and thank him for joining the staff as well. I think the biggest transition or the biggest difficulty for athletes in a 4-year program is that extended time when they're coming in. They're playing against other players that are 4 and sometimes 5 years older than them. And they've had the opportunity to develop over 3 or 4 years. And when you're coming in as a freshman right out of high school, that's really difficult to be able to adjust to the older ladies, if you will, playing the game and much more strength and conditioning opportunities for them over 3 or 4 years than the first-year girls have had. So they're stronger. They're more familiar with the game in terms of reactions and what's necessary to be successful in what you're doing. In a 2-year program, you can often come in with, it's very similar to a community program that has a 2-year program where you come in and play against players 1 year above you, and then the next year you're the senior, and so on. So you've got a mix there. And in that 2-year program, although Douglas does have a diploma program now, at UBC, UBC is a very academically oriented program, and it's really difficult for players coming in out of high school sometimes to adjust to the what's required and what the expectations are in the classroom, and carrying the courses that they carry are very difficult, especially in first year. That adjustment to university life is really, really difficult, and they need to focus on their studies as much as they need to focus on the field, if not more so. So I think that's the most difficult thing for the athletes coming in, is the intensity of the academic program, and then all the practicing and the preparation you need to do to be able to compete against the top teams in the Cascade Conference. I should point out the Cascade Conference for us is probably the most difficult conference in the United States. So we're up against teams that typically make it to the World Series, and
sometimes they two teams from this conference make it to the final of the World Series.
Exactly. Yeah, they're playing each other that 1 year, 2 years ago, playing each other in the final of the World Series and going to extra innings. So, yeah, it's a challenge for our program because you have to have the academics to get in too. So you need high marks to get in, and you have to maintain those marks to be eligible to play.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure Coach McKellar is up for the task. She's definitely prepared her whole her whole adult life for this particular role. Her academics were geared towards a coaching job at the college level, and so she was a player, minor coach, and junior college coach, and now I guess she's now landed the job that she was seeking all along, the head coach of UBC. Now she does step into a team that you actually built, and it's a fantastic team. It's exciting to watch. I don't know if you watched the games last weekend, but they were really close, one-run games, back and forth. It was exciting. So Coach McKellar's inheriting a team. What does that team look like?
Well, I'm really excited for them. They're very special to me, of course, having the opportunity of coaching many of them for 3 or 4 years, and a couple that have come back this year, Shelby and Mia. They're very special to me, in that they came in as freshmen and we played through all that, and then the second year and third year girls that we went through that, and the fourth year girls went through the COVID year. So they've stuck it out. They showed determination and fortitude in terms of working on and preparing themselves over the time that they didn't play over that year and almost 2 years, a year and about 3 quarters. Sticking with the program, being there, they're committed, they're dedicated, quality athletes as well as quality and character people. So I know she's not going to have any difficulty working with the group that's there in terms of the character they bring to the program, but also in terms of the quality of play they bring to the program. I think they've done an excellent job. Many of the younger ones that have got extra years have really grown and developed. I think the crop of new ones coming in are going to add and mold really well with the returning players. There's great leadership on the team. There's great athletes on the team, and I think they can do very, very well. And I look forward to seeing them challenge again for in the conference championship and hopefully going on to the next level and be getting to the regionals for the first time in UBC history. That would be awesome for the ladies.
I think you did a tremendous job keeping the spirits up on the team during COVID and the season cancellations, and they certainly showed up ready to play last season, and they're looking pretty good this season. One thing that I think a lot of people are looking forward to is that they'll be playing on their home turf. Something I guess that you fought for and scraped and made happen somehow. They now have a field at UBC, and it's called Collings Field. And I think that is a really appropriate name, because I don't believe that field would exist if it wasn't for you, and as well, the program wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for your efforts over the years. But anyways, can you just maybe tell us a little bit about the field, this beautiful field?
Sure, absolutely. I know the biggest advantage, of course, is it's close to campus for the players to be able to go there and practice. One of the issues we had, we had some great opportunities to play at Softball City. The only problem was it was so far away. But we didn't get the opportunity to practice on a dirt infield. We just went there and played our games there. So this gives us the opportunity to practice on the field as well as compete on the same field. So we'll get to know our field. We'll get to know the bounces and the nuances of the distances and how the ball bounces and so on. So I think that's a huge advantage for the ladies, and hopefully will bode well over the years for us. I think that the girls really appreciated when we introduced the field to them and had the opportunity actually to have Simon Fraser be there with us to open the field. You streamed that for us. To have a great turnout, to be able to experience what it's like to get that feeling of playing on your own field with your fans, your friends, and family there, to be able to watch you play and compete. And I know it was a challenge for the university working through various levels to make it happen, working very well with the University Neighborhood Association to make it happen, to provide the support staff to open it up for us and be there throughout the game. So I'm really looking forward to the ladies being able to take advantage of that and compete. I was just thrilled when we were able to get it, and I know they were, and many of the alumni that showed up for the games in October of last year were just shaking their heads saying, boy, we wish we were able to play on this field, because they really, really like it. So
it's stunning. It's a stunning field. If for those that haven't had a chance to visit and watch a live game, I highly recommend it. It's a great atmosphere. So I just have actually one more question. Right now it's off season, so I guess we're preseason, and the games that we're playing now are exhibition games. So I guess they're not real games, although they feel like real games. They look like real games. What is the difference, and what are some of the rules regarding preseason games versus in-season games?
Well, probably the most important is you are not supposed to keep score. And I know that while I say that, you could go down the dugout and ask any girl what the score was, and they'll tell you, because it's important to them, particularly with the rivalry between UBC and SFU. Many of the girls on UBC team know the girls on the SFU team, grew up with them, played with them, or against them when they're community ball. So it's a particularly special time for our two teams to play each other, the opportunity to play against players they know. The other big rule is, it's not a big rule, but it is unlimited substitutions. You can make substitutions at any time, and you're ethical about that. You're not bringing the same batter in every second batter, or the same base runner or whatever, but you do have the opportunity to make some substitutions at times in the game, where everyone will get an opportunity to experience a situation, perhaps a base runner, perhaps a pitcher, perhaps an infielder coming in at a given time or whatever, or a pitch hitter, things like that. So you can slide them in and out and make those changes so that every player has an opportunity to experience a different part of the game. The other thing that's really good about, and that also adds to your ability to put in new players to experience situations where they've never been in before in the college setting. So your first year players, this will be the opportunity for them to get the first time to play against other college players that are sometimes 3 or 4, like I said before, 3 or 4 or 5 years older than them. So it's not held to your record. When you look at your records at the end of the year, they don't have any influence in your standing. You don't have any influence in your selection to regionals or whatever. It's an opportunity to play and to basically get back on the field and throw. And also the coaches have an opportunity to evaluate where their team is at, where there needs to be work done, the kind of things that you can't see in practice. You can only see when a player is reacting to a situation and see how they do in that. So it's a good opportunity for the coach to measure, get a good measure of where we are, what we need to work on, and what direction we want to go in.
So with the upcoming games, we'll probably get a good look at all the players on the team in various roles.
Yeah, so and the other great opportunity is the fact that you're streaming it. So coaches can also go back to YouTube and say, let's go over this play and see what you did, and what would you do differently. So there's a huge benefit having you do this. So again,
and the scoreboard that people see on the screen is not an official scoreboard. It's just me keeping score because it's entertainment.
Yeah, that's just the entertainment.
And sometimes I'm wrong anyways. Sometimes I lose track of the count and the score, but eventually someone will tell me that it's not right. And but anyways, I'm just doing this to make sure that everyone, all the parents and grandparents and fans, have a chance to watch their kids play, or if they're fans of the game, watch UBC softball. And there's certainly a lot of people watching it now, so it's definitely a game of interest to a lot of people. So
and that's a
thank
compliment.
you for building such an amazing program, and congratulations on your long career in both the education and coaching, and I certainly hope you enjoy your retirement.
Thank
And
you.
hope to see you at the ballpark, and hope to see you on my pregame show again, and maybe during the live broadcast you can come on and help me out calling the games or something.
Well, thank
That would
you,
be
Tom,
fun.
again for all you do, and all my best to both teams, UBC and to SFU. You represent us well, and I look forward to seeing them play. And I'm hoping my best to be there on Sunday, so we'll see how that works out. So thanks again, Tom. Thanks for having me, and thanks for all you do. Much
Okay. Thanks,
appreciated.
Gord. Thanks for coming on. Well, that's it for the pregame show. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will try and bring more pregame shows in future broadcasts.